Hi there, this is Brick from How to IELTS, and today we will be reviewing another IELTS mock speaking test. That's right, it's been a very long time since I did this, and if you would like your own mock speaking test with myself, followed by a feedback video just like this with detailed analysis, with commentary, and a band score, then click the link in the description below. I do have a lot more things coming for this YouTube channel, but for now, let's get started with this speaking test. Good afternoon. My name is Brick. Could you tell me your full name, please?
Hello, Rick. My name is Abdullah Fauzi. You can simply call me Fauzi.
Okay, nice start there. This part of the test, a lot of the time students use it sounds like it's memorized. However, this part is not really assessed, so it's fine. Yeah, nothing more to gauge from that just yet. Let's continue. Thank you. Now, in this first part of the test, I will ask you some questions about yourself. So, where is your hometown?
Yeah, my hometown is in Surabaya, Indonesia. Actually, it's the second largest city in Indonesia, and it's famous with culinary. So,
Okay. I liked the first part. Then you went on to say it famous for culinary, not it. Okay. You can say it is or it's it and is merged together becomes it's. Okay, not it. But let's continue.
a lot of culinary that come from this city.
Okay. And can you describe your hometown?
Yeah, Surabaya is a vibrant city, so it have a diverse culinary.
So again, we say it has or it have. I think he said. So remember, it's not it. Okay, it's it is or it with an S apostrophe S.
Scenes that many people like to enjoy. For example, myself, I enjoy rawon, which is a delightful black meat soup uh, originated from the city.
Okay, one thing I really liked here is that you used an example. It's always good to extend your answers. Not all the time, but majority of the time, it can be very beneficial to extend your answers by either adding a supporting sentence or giving an example. And that goes for the writing task too, as well. Okay. Before the speaking task, that part was good. The one thing I would focus on here in order to further develop your English speaking skills is your pronunciation. So, what does that even mean? Well, I can see a lot of your accent from your hometown merging through, and it's affecting your pronunciation. Um, yeah, so we will talk about this at the end, but if you look at the IELTS speaking rubric, which I have here, and then you can download it using the link in the description, part of the pronunciation section that you are assessed on is how well you pronounce your words and whether your home accent comes across over to your English speaking. I said that in a bit of a confusing way, but we will go over that later on. Okay, let's continue. Okay, and how has your hometown changed over the years?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, this question is great to show off your grammar skills, where you can talk about, in the past it was like this, whereas now it is like this. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be focusing on for this question. We will also pick out any other things that stand out. So let's go. Let's continue.
When I was a child, Surabaya is not that quite developed, but now it's already.
Okay, it's not that quite developed. Okay, it's because it's the past, it was not quite developed. Okay, so I'm starting to see a pattern here with how well you use the term it, or it is, or it was. Okay, don't worry, that's a very easy thing to fix. Let's continue.
very, very developed and also
Very, very develop. Okay, so first of all, develop is past. Okay, because we're talking about the past. So developed with ed at the end, but it's like it sounds like a t sound. Developed, and also very small point here. I've just did this myself. The word very, okay? We don't want to use this. If you use it once, it's fine, but we don't want to say it's very, very developed. That's like a lazy attempt of using the English language. And that shows me as an examiner that you kind of need to broaden your vocabulary because we can easily use a synonym for the word very. That's like a very basic word, as I like to say. Okay. And remember, it is a speaking exam, so you want to show off your vocabulary. So we don't want to say this is a very, very, very expensive headphone or headpiece or headset. You can say it's extremely expensive. It's significantly expensive. By the way, it's not that expensive. I was just using that as an example. Let's continue.
crowded because many people going to the city to find the job, and that's make the city overpopulated.
That's make the city over. There is a pronunciation error there with overpopulated. It's overpopulated. Um, yeah. So again, it's the grammar that's just it's just stopping you from achieving those higher marks. Let's continue. It's still only part one, so a lot can change. And also, he's not doing bad. It's just that these are just the things I'm picking up on. Let's continue. Okay. And are there any interesting places to visit in your hometown?
Yeah, usually people come to Surabaya for uh, going to the zoo, which is
Okay, I really liked that first part. Not going to the zoo. I think you said zoo. Um, yeah. Other than that, it was fine. It was really good actually. Why was it good? Well, an example of a good answer is if somebody asks you a closed question. Closed meaning you only have two options, either yes or no. Is your hometown good for this? You say yes. Really, you kind of answered the question. Okay. Do you like chocolate? Yes or no. But then you extend your answer, okay, by adding another sentence on. So that's what you did there. And I really liked that. You said yes, okay, then you extended it by talking about the zoo. So again, slight grammatical error there towards the end, but that's fine because I want you to focus on the rest of the answer, which was a good answer. I really like that. If you can purposely use that technique where you answer the question and then extend it by developing your answer, you can do very well. Okay, especially if we fix those other things like the vocabulary part and the focusing on the grammatical range and accuracy, which again is one of the things that you will be assessed on in the speaking test. Let's continue. By the way, if you are, watching up to here, please hit that like button and do comment below. Let me know which country you're from. It really does support the channel. Okay, let's continue.
quite popular because it's historically many people going to Surabaya to come to the zoo. But now people prefer to go to another place such as the shopping mall, which is also available in Surabaya.
Okay, I really likes that. Much better, much better. The only thing we kind of need to focus on, I would say, is pronunciation. And I think that is a hard thing. Well, it's not a hard thing to fix, but it's a thing that can take a very long time. And that's because you kind of have to undo your like bad habits and then relearn them. Okay. And overall, it can take a very long time. Anyway, one of the most effective techniques that you can use to develop your or to improve your pronunciation is to listen to the English language. Okay. So, for example, watch TV shows on Netflix in English or, American English. That's one thing. And also surround yourself with the English language. That might be hard to do if you're in Indonesia. That piece of advice is more beneficial for those who have just migrated to the UK or migrated to America. So in this case, try to just watch, lots of TV shows. That's the best piece of homework that you can be given. Imagine as a child, somebody said to you, right, your homework is to watch TV shows. You would be the happiest kid on earth. But let's continue. Okay. Now let's talk about your free time. How do you usually spend your free time?
Yeah, actually, I prefer to spend my free time with my family.
Really, really good answer so far. Why? I asked him, "How do you like to spend your free time?" And he said, "Actually, I prefer to spend my free time with my family." Good, a nice sentence there. Um, yeah, yeah. Um, Good. One thing I don't really like is when people copy and paste words from the question. But it seemed like you didn't really do that. I thought you did for a second, but I don't think you did. So that's good.
Plus, honestly, we are in different cities during the weekdays. So on the weekend, we usually spend our free time together, like visit mall or maybe in the new restaurant.
Visit our mall or visit their mall, okay? Not visits mall. But other than that, much better. Okay, your answers are getting, more and more better, more and more better. Well, I'm enjoying them a lot more. You're doing better.
And trying some new dishes. So yeah, I think that's what I spend on my leisure time.
Good. I like that. That's what I spend. That's how I spend my leisure time. You used a synonym for free time. Well done. Good. Okay. And is there any new activity you would like to try in your free time?
Yeah, I really want to try hiking because I really love hiking, but uh, it's like once in a blue moon, I cannot do
Once in a blue moon. Nice. Nice.
that activity because of my job that I have to spend a lot of time on my job and also for my family. So I don't have any time to do my to do hiking.
Okay. Right. Again, as I said before, your answers are they're getting better now. And I really like the fact that you use that idiom, and the idiom was once in a blue moon, which means very very rarely. Okay, so we might say I'm in Manchester, so the weather outside is a bit sunny now, as you can see, and I can say, well, the sun comes out once in a blue moon in Manchester. So yeah, you use that idiom. Well done. You used it very naturally. Good. I like it. Overall, I'm probably your best response. Good. Okay. And do you think technology has affected how people spend their free time? Sorry, one thing that I haven't really pointed out is that I know I mentioned it briefly in a negative way, which is your vocabulary. I think your vocabulary so far has been really good. Um, yeah, you've talked about the topics at hand directly, and you've used a few synonyms here and there as well. But let's continue with this question again. Okay. And do you think technology has affected how people spend their free time?
Yeah, I absolutely agree because now,
Good. Yes. Sorry. Yeah, I absolutely agree. I love that. Good. Good use of vocab there, just as we mentioned.
because of technology, for example, like smartphone, people tend to spend many of their time on.
Okay, so many of the time, I think we're getting confused with our countable, uncountable nouns. Um, yeah. So that's something that we need to focus on. The singular and the plural. When is something a singular? When is it not? Okay. Um, Yeah, we just need to focus on that a little bit, which again comes under grammatical range and accuracy.
Screen. So they tend to make, for example, like they open the social media, watching video on YouTube, etc. So it will make them focus only on the smartphone, but they tend to uh, spend less time on maybe outdoor activities.
Okay. Nice answer. Good. Pretty much the same sort of feedback. Uh, you know, as to the previous answer. So we'll just continue, keep it moving. Now let's talk about traveling. Do you enjoy traveling?
Yes, of course, I really enjoy traveling, and I uh,
Again, I love that. Yes, of course I love traveling. Okay.
want to visit a lot of cities uh, in the future because I really enjoy to visit. Uh, I really enjoy to learn new culture, new language, and also new people. Yeah, I really enjoy traveling.
I really enjoy new people. I wouldn't say I really enjoy new people. We need like I really enjoy talking to new people. I really enjoy meeting new people. Okay, not I really enjoy new people. I know what you kind of meant because of the context, but we're just it's not the correctest way to say this. Really, it's not a natural way to say this. Okay, and what is the most interesting place you have visited?
Yeah, in my opinion, I have visited.
Well, here we don't. In my opinion, okay, I guess that works. That's fine. Yeah. Although we don't really need to say it there, but that's just me being like nitpicking. That's fine.
London, and it's really influenced me because I can
Influenced me. Okay, not or it's influenced me, or it has influenced me, not it's influenced me.
visit Big Ben, and also like the Buckingham Palace. It's a very interesting place, and I in the
It's a very interesting place.
future I really want to go there and again.
Okay, now let's move on to part two of this speaking test. Right, part two. This is the part that according to the YouTube analytics, this is where the spike goes up, meaning that this is the part where most people look to watch. So let's see the topic at hand, and please like the video if you haven't already. In part two, I will give you a topic card, and you will speak about this topic between 1 and 2 minutes. However, you will have 1 minute to make notes and prepare. Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, so here is your topic and your 1 minute begin. Okay, so let's see the topic. Describe a special event or festival that you liked. Say what the event was, where it was, what happened, and say why you liked it. Okay, nice. Ends now. Okay, so your 1 minute is now over and you may begin to speak.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, this time I want to explain about the event that I really like, which is
Not event, event. Okay, event, event, not event. So we don't prolong the sound. We don't say event, it's event. Okay, event.
Fitr. This event is a religious event. As a Muslim, that usually happen after Ramadan. And I really like this event because it allows me to uh, going back to my hometown to meet family, neighbors, and everyone that we
By the way, it allows me, not allows me. So just a pronunciation over there. Now that word there, the reason why I paused it so long afterwards is because I had to figure out what did you even say. So in when it comes to the pronunciation on this sheet, um, you do get assessed on whether your pronunciation affects understanding. Okay, meaning that can the person understand you or not? Okay, and so just be mindful of that.
usually uh, cannot meet because I spend most of my time in another city because I have worked there. So at that time,
Worked there, not walked there, worked there. Yeah, we kind of stretched the sound, not ah, not ah, Worked. Yeah.
Uh, we usually spend time together, like festive. We usually eat together between all of member of the family, and it we also do like some ritual, such as we uh, forgive one another because of maybe in the past we made a mistake, and we try to forgive our family at the time, and also of
So far, I'm liking this. Okay. I always find the answers to part two very interesting because a lot of the time there can be such a big difference between your answers in part two, when compared to part one. And the reason for that is that it's a different skill set that you need for part two. Because in part two, remember, there's no back and forth, there's no conversation, it's just you speaking, so there's a lot of things to do at the same time. You have to think, process your thoughts, and then say them out loud, and also answer the questions on the card without making it a mess. And then on top of that, you have to speak between 1 and 2 minutes. So it can be difficult, and one thing that you've done really well is that you came across really relaxed throughout this test. However, for part two, it does seem like you are not as relaxed, and that could just be because you need a strategy to follow. Okay, so I do have other videos on my YouTube channel that you can watch that can help you with a strategy, but I will explain one in this video as well after this section is finished.
the most important is that we finally I can spend the precious time with my loved one, because
Finally spend my precious time. Okay, I do like those I like to call them optional words. Okay, they are actual terms for them. So this adjective here, precious, okay, it's optional because even without it, it still makes sense. But the fact that you used it adds that extra oomph. Okay, you use the word precious time. These terms, okay, they do help you show off your vocabulary, as we mentioned earlier. There was another word you mentioned there as well. I think it was finally. I cannot remember, but yeah, there were two words that well done. Good.
it's quite hard to spend the time, like once in a blue moon, that we can
Okay, so once in a blue moon is fine. The fact that you've used it the second time, maybe. Okay, I would say it's okay. Yep. However, these type of idioms, we don't really say them that frequently. In fact, we say it once in a blue moon. Did you see what I did there? We don't use it that often. Okay. Um, yeah. So just be mindful of that because it can come across like you just memorized one or two idioms, or sometimes what people do is they memorized one or two difficult words. Words that you don't use all the time. Words that you might think, "Ooh, that's fancy." Some people just memorize one or two of those words and they say it over and over again, and that can actually go against you. Okay, now this idiom, the fact that you mentioned it twice, is just about acceptable. Okay, we don't want to say more than that. Now you can use another idiom, that's okay, but I don't want to hear this one for a third time. Okay, let's continue.
call together with the family, because all the time we I already have very busy with my job, because I also sometimes have to travel uh, in another city or even overseas. So this opportunity make
Okay,
me very
thank you. Okay, so as you saw them, I just cut him off. And the reason why I did that was because his 2 minutes were over. So if that happens and you have not finished what you're saying, is that a bad thing? Let me know in the comments below. I will answer it in 3, 2, 1. It's not a bad thing, okay? And why is it not a bad thing? Well, all it means basically is that your time is over, and whatever you said in those 2 minutes is what will be assessed, okay? So don't worry about if you have not finished your story or finished your sentence. you will just be assessed on what you said. Okay, and the examiner has to cut you off after those 2 minutes. Yeah, it's just part of the rules of the speaking test. Thank you. Now let's talk about celebrations in a bit more detail. So, do you think celebrations are experienced differently? But sorry. Okay, before we continue on to that question, we will go back to the start of that question. Let's give our summary of for part two. So, you did do, I think, better than okay. Okay, you like did better than okay, just slightly below good, I would say. However, there's lots of ways to improve on this. One way that you can definitely improve on is your structure. Okay, um, one and an easy way we can structure things is by using sequence words such as firstly, secondly, thirdly, fourthly, and that helps you put things in order. Okay. However, those words they become very predictable. Firstly, secondly, thirdly. For example, if I say secondly, the next thing will be thirdly, and the one after that will be fourthly, then fifthly, and then you know what comes after that and after that. So it becomes predictable. So we can use uh, advanced sequence words such as furthermore, moreover, additionally. And if it's the last point that you're mentioning, then you can say finally. Okay, that's one technique that you can use in your arsenal, that you can add to your arsenal. Meaning that that's one skill set that you can, or strategy that you can learn. Another thing is that what you should be doing really is get a bunch of task 2 cards printed out. Okay, put them the other way around so you cannot see them, and randomly pick one and just talk about it for as long as you can. Okay, but do time yourself though. Okay, and slowly over time, fix the timing. So okay, then just stop it at 2 minutes, for example. Okay, and that will just get you into the habit of speaking about random topics. By the way, I did forget one thing. If you do time yourself and record yourself, go back and analyze the recording, okay? And you will start to see, oh, I need to focus on this area, or oh, I did this part really well, okay? So it's good to analyze our own performance, especially after a feedback video just like this. Let's continue. Now let's talk about celebrations in a bit more detail. So, do you think celebrations are experienced differently by the different generations? Here, I accidentally said the different generations. Um, yeah, as opposed to just different generations.
Yeah, I agree. Because uh, I remember when I was a child, during the Eid Fitr, it's very uh, we can enjoy the celebration. Even 1 week before, we already very enthusiastic with the
We already free. Okay. Again, it's the same things that are just popping up every now and then. So, really, from what I've gathered so far throughout this test, I know we haven't finished just yet, but there's two main things that you need to focus on. The first one is pronunciation, because some parts are becoming a little bit difficult to understand, which is a shame because you do have a wide vocabulary, really. Okay, so yeah, pronunciation, and the second one is your grammatical range and accuracy. Okay, so the good thing is both of those areas they are easy to fix. They can take time, but they are easy. Okay, um, the grammar part you could just fix with well, we can start off by just working through these worksheets. I will send you these on WhatsApp.
celebration. But now I think it become more uh people tend to not really interest with the celebration. So yeah, I think it has changed a lot.
Okay, and how will celebrations change in the future?
Yeah, I think in the future, the celebration, for example, like the religious celebration, is will be less and less people will interest on it because
Will be less and less. People interest. Okay, I know what you're trying to say, and the first part of the sentence was great. It was you set it up really nicely. We just cannot execute it properly, and that's been a pattern throughout as well. So the start of your sentences or the start of your speech has been great. But just the ending, we just need to fix upon, and that's where the grammar kind of gets in the way. Because again, this was a grammatical rather.
For now, many people tend to spend more of their time in the on their smartphone. So usually they uh, tend to communicate with the one that are not really close to them in the real life. So and it also make them like ignore the one that are already close with them in the real life.
Okay. And do you think people should get a day off from work on their birthdays?
Yeah, I think so. I agree about the day off for the birthday because it's it's a important event for that people. Then
It's an important event. Good. Yeah, I know we said events, but we've already talked about the start. But I like the fact that you're using your own words to replace the word birthday. You're using synonyms. I really I picked that up that throughout this test. That part you've done really well. Even now, I'm just looking at this sheet, um, picking out the points that you've done really well in, and it's definitely one of them. Okay, which comes with the lexical resource.
and if they can get a day off, that's mean they can like spend the precious time with their maybe family, friends, etc. So it make them it will be make them more motivated and they can enjoy the
Motivated. And I didn't understand what you quite said there. Again, the reason why I didn't understand it is because the pronunciation kind of got on the way there. Okay.
day and the special day.
Okay. And do you think people should get a day off from work on their birthdays?
Yeah, I think they should get the day off because uh, it will help them to enjoy their special event such as a birthday. It will make them uh, spend their precious time with their loved one. So I think yeah, I think it's important for people to get the day off on their birthday.
Okay, good. I like the fact that you use the term precious time. I know you mentioned that phrase before as well. Um, but yeah, it's fine. It's good. Um, I would have preferred it if you paraphrased there towards the end a little bit better, but I only mentioned that because I've seen you do that throughout the test where you paraphrase really well. So I would have liked it if you did that. But the fact that you didn't doesn't really go against you. You're not going to lose many marks. You're not going to lose marks for that. Okay. And are there any celebrations that you think should be more widely recognized?
Yeah,
This is a well, he said yes. So let's see what he's about to say. That's a hard question, though. To be honest with you, though, you have been lucky in the fact that I think, in my opinion, anyway, you might disagree, but I think all the topics that you've had questions on, they've been quite nice. They've been quite easy. This question seemed a bit difficult. Let's see what Fauzi is about to say.
I think the celebration that need to be widely recognized is like uh, in my country in Indonesia, like the Idul Fitr is quite famous in our
And Eid al-Fitr, okay? I understand that that's an Arabic word, so you might have pronounced it in your, the way you pronounce in your things in your own language. However, we still have to pronounce things in a certain way for them to be understood uh, properly. Okay?
country, especially in the countryside, because people on the countryside usually more eager to celebrate the celebration rather than the one in the city. So I think it also need to be uh,
So I'm just gonna pause it there. That was a really good use of a really nice use of your grammatical range and accuracy when you was comparing, okay, the countryside to the city. Well done. Okay, the fact that I mentioned grammar so many times throughout this video in a bit of a way where I could give you feedback and focus on this to develop. This is one area where you've done it really well, where you tackle this area very well. Good.
attract more people to uh, experience the celebration.
Okay. And how important do you think celebrations are in society?
Yeah, I think it's very important because it will make people unite with the celebration. Because when they come to one event or celebration, they can know each other. They can communicate with each other, and even maybe they can make new friends that maybe can in the later step they can become good friends.
Oh, nice answer. Yeah, I liked it. Okay, thank you. We've now come to the end of this test, so I will now stop the recording. Well, what's okay? That was an interesting test. I actually really enjoyed assessing that, okay, and giving my feedback to that. It's been such a long time, but now let's download our links to this rubric, and we will mark this together. Now, just to save you time, okay, there's 4 areas which we are assessed on. The first area is called fluency and coherence, and for fluency, you have attained or achieved a band 6. Okay, so let's look at the first bullet point for a band 6 says is willing to speak at length, though may lose coherence at times due to occasional repetition, self correction, or hesitation. And this wasn't that apparent in part 1. Even in part 3, it was not that apparent. However, in part 2, it was quite obvious to me. Okay, that the pauses there, okay, they seem quite frequent, and it was to do with either. Well, it wasn't to do with self correction. In this case, it was just to do with hesitation and a lack of lack of things to say, really. Okay. Yeah. The second bullet point, as we mentioned earlier, uses a range of connectives and discourse markers, but not always appropriately. So the sequence words that we talked about could fall under this category. Good. You got a band 6. You did not get a band 7 here. Why? Because for a band 7, it says speaks at length without noticeable effort or loss of coherence. Okay. So yeah, and the other 2 bullet points, you just about missed out on those. Okay. Now, to be fair though, I think with practice, you could definitely achieve those. Okay, Fauzi, I've seen your ability. You seem very relaxed. Most people, when they do their test with me, I speak to them afterwards, and they're so relieved that these tests are over. They're like, I was very nervous. I didn't do that well, even though they might have done well. Okay, whereas Fauzi, with you, you just seem quite relaxed, and you seem to have handled the whole test very nicely. Okay, so you definitely have the ability to get a band 7 for fluency and coherence. But for now, you've got a band 6. Let's move on to the second section, which you are assessed on, and that's lexical resource, which just means vocabulary. Okay, and here, uh, this might surprise you, but for this, you've actually got a band 7. Okay, well done. So why have you got a band 7? Well, it says here, the first bullet point, that uses vocabulary resource flexibly to discuss a variety of topics. I think you did that very well. Okay, the second bullet point uses some less common and idiomatic vocabulary and shows some awareness of style and collocation with some inappropriate choices. um, I cannot think of the top of my head, but there were times when you used collocations. One or two of them, uh, they weren't appropriate, but they were fine. Okay, and the third one, sorry, uses paraphrase effectively. I think throughout this test, you paraphrased very well, with the exception of maybe one. answer that you gave that I can recall. Okay, so for that, you've got a band 7. Well done. Okay, now for grammatical range and accuracy, this may surprise you based on what I've just said throughout this test, but for this, you've actually got a band 6. Okay, well done. So that shows you when I do point out these things, it doesn't mean that you've done poorly. It just means that these are the areas that you can develop further. Okay, if you're a band 8 student, but your weakest area is grammar, okay, again, I would point out those parts. So for this, you've got band 6, and that just means that you, well, here it says for a band 6, it uses a mix of simple and complex structures, but with limited flexibility. So this kind of fits what your speech here. You did use them, but they were with limited flexibility. Okay, and the second bullet point may make frequent mistakes with complex structures. So that means you can make those mistakes and still get a band 6, though these rarely cause comprehension problems. Okay, I think I just about gave you that one, to be honest. So far we got a 6, a 7, a 6, and the final section, pronunciation. For this, you have been given a band 5. So, which means that it says here shows all the positive features of band 4 and some, but not all, of the positive features of a band 6. Okay. So you can look at that section in your own time. You just missed off the band 6 by a couple of things that you did in the test, as we mentioned. So your overall score is a band 6. Okay, well done. That is an improvement. For those of you watching, Fauzi did do the speaking test before, and he got a band 5.5. We focused on some things, and he's come back and he's got a band 6 here. Definitely can improve further. And I think you have the ability to do so. And that brings us to the end of this video. And I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.